Are you going to have to jailbreak your Steam Deck? Let's talk about this. Before we get started, I just wanted to say, if you like the work that I'm doing here and you believe in what I do, hit that subscribe button. It really helps the show out. You can also hit that like button, maybe leave a comment. When I see comments, when I see likes, and when I see subscriptions on a certain video, it tells me that you want to see more videos like this. So thank you. There has been a ton of speculation about how Valve's Proton technology, the Windows compatibility layer that's going to come with the Steam Deck and enable you to play your Windows games, is going to support games that it doesn't already support. I know, weird concept, right? Now, if you look at ProtonDB, which is a great resource if you're interested in Proton and Wine, you'll see that half of the top 10 most played games on Steam have a silver or below rating, and below silver is really not playable whatsoever. And honestly, most of the top 10 games that have the borked rating, which means it's not playable at all, are online multiplayer games. And that kind of multiplayer game typically requires some kind of anti-cheat installed on your system in order for you to play the game. And the anti-cheat solutions are really the thing that hold back those games' compatibility with Proton, seeing as, they need kernel-level access to Windows APIs, and Proton doesn't support that. Now, Valve has said for a while that they've been talking with popular anti-cheat vendors like Easy Anti-Cheat from Epic or BattlEye about supporting Linux, or more specifically, Windows games running through Proton. And, that's even before the deck was announced. And Valve has a monetary incentive to want to get popular games that are played on Steam to work with Proton, the not least of which reason being that the deck runs Linux. So it makes perfect sense that Valve would be working together with these developers and middleware vendors in order to bring titles like PUBG, Apex Legends, Rust, or Destiny 2 to the deck. But a lot of people have been worried about what kind of deals Valve have been making with the anti-cheat software vendors. Will SteamOS require some kind of authenticated or locked down kernel in order for anti-cheat to run? And really, all of these questions boil down to, will SteamOS become locked down and closed like Android? These are great questions, and let's tackle each one. Do you have root access to your deck's OS? Well, let's look at other versions of SteamOS for a minute. In previous versions of SteamOS, Steam would boot up as the Steam user account. This is not like the Steam user account that you log into to access your Steam games. This is the user account like if you have a user account on Windows. Linux has a similar concept. And so there is a Steam Linux account that you log into, or that is automatically logged into when you boot up the device. The Steam account was entirely unprivileged, and it was unable to access basically anything outside of its own home directory. So it's My Documents folder, essentially. However, you were able to leave big picture mode and access the desktop user account. Now, the desktop user account, literally desktop, was a sudoer, which in Linux terms is kind of like an administrator on Windows. You have full access to your machine, but only when you grant access to that using the sudo command. And honestly, that's how it should be. In fact, if you look at the official Steam support documentation on how to gain root access to SteamOS, it spells it out for you right there. Imagine if there was an Xbox support page that spelled out how to get root access to your Series X. I mean, that's not something that console manufacturers do. Look, Valve employees have said time and time again that the Steam Deck is a PC that you'll be able to do anything that you would expect to be able to do on a normal PC. And the precedence here honestly backs that all up. Previous versions of SteamOS also give users root access, and I don't think there's any reason to doubt that that will be the case here either. Now here's a question. Will SteamOS require an authorized kernel in order to play online multiplayer games? That's an interesting question. Granted, previous versions of SteamOS have not had that requirement in the kernel, but then again, previous versions of SteamOS were mostly released before Proton was a thing. Look, I would not be surprised if there were some OS level assurances that that SteamOS is providing to anti-cheat software, some kind of secure or trusted environment or whatever. That seems pretty reasonable from Valve's point of view, I would say. But a special kernel? I don't think so. If we read their documentation on the topic of anti-cheat, it says, quote, "Below are a few recommendations around areas that have been known to be Proton compatibility issues and likely will induce delays in Proton fully supporting a given title after its launch on Steam. Anti-cheat. We recommend using user space anti-cheat components for best results, as they can typically run in the Wine environment and provide the same level of functionality. Kernel-space solutions are not currently supported and are not recommended. We have been working with most anti-cheat technology providers to provide Proton compatibility. If your solution currently isn't working, please reach out to both your vendor and Valve for support. That sounds pretty unambiguous to me. Valve recommends that anti-cheat software run in user space. Does that mean that the DeX flavor of Proton is going to be providing some kind of OS level security features to accommodate anti-cheat on the Steam Deck? Maybe, I don't know. But does that mean that the Steam Deck is going to need to be jailbroken in order to sideload applications or do any of the normal things you would do on a PC? No, definitely not. Finally, will the Steam Deck become like Android? Well, Android is the most popular operating system on the face of the planet at this point. I don't think there's any chance of that happening with SteamOS, at least for the time being. But in a more material sense, no, I don't think that that's going to happen. Android is a locked down operating system for appliances, basically. That's what your phone is for the most part. And SteamOS and the Steam Deck, no, they're not going to be appliances. SteamOS is meant for, a PC type experience. But I'd love to know what you think about this. Let me know down in the comments. Do you think that Valve is going to have to include some kind of locked down version of SteamOS in order to get anti-cheat vendors on board? I'd love to hear from you. I want to say thanks to all of the patrons and the YouTube members who help make what I do here possible. If it wasn't for them, I would not be here doing these videos, so thank you. I really appreciate your support. If you believe in the work that I do and you want to help support the show, you can head over to Patreon. There's a link down below. You can also become a YouTube member with the link down below as well. That's going to do it for this video. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a blessed day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.